I've always wanted to play college football. My family always watch it, and I grew up with my dad watching in the living room all the time, so I pretty much love it.
I'm Jessica Pomeroy, and this is Dreams of Saturday. On this episode of Dreams of Saturday, we'll take a look at one of LSU's hottest young recruits, Frank Herron. And we'll check out one of the best high school tight ends in the country, O.J. Howard. We'll be introduced to Latavius Rayford, who is making a lot of noise at receiver in Memphis, Tennessee. And we'll get a unique first-hand account from a family about the Division I recruiting process.
One, two, three, four.
We all know that National Signing Day in February is when a player's commitment becomes official and they are locked into their chosen school. However, when it comes to a recruit's non-binding verbal commitment, there is no protocol. Some are scheduled and well thought out, while others are more spontaneous and spur of the moment. Either way, making a verbal commitment to a school is one of the most important parts of the recruiting process. So let's take a look at four-star athlete John Diarse and what he went through the day he made his verbal commitment to the LSU Tigers.
The day I committed to LSU,
It was just like any other day. It was normal.
normal day.
We had no idea it was going to be that day.
We got an invite to come back and just to see what they do, for scrimmage. And I didn't know that they were actually having a scrimmage that day. My coworker actually told me the day before. So when I asked John about it on our way to Baton Rouge that morning, he says, well, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want you to be bored and say you didn't want to go or what have you. So we went on to Baton Rouge and
On my way to LSU, excited, ready to get there, anxious to see the coaches and talk with the coaches. Coach Miles immediately wanted to speak with me. We went in his office and had a meeting. Off the bat, like he does every time I go, he says, if you want to commit now, I'll accept your commitment. And right then I started laughing. I looked at my mom, she started smiling. And I told Coach, I said, I'm not ready yet, Coach, I'm not ready. Then I went downstairs into the receiver's position room, and Coach Henry took my highlight and combined it with LSU's highlight and showed me some of my strengths, showed me some of my weaknesses, showed me some of the things that he likes, showed me some of the things I need to get better at.
And at some point, we split off. The players, the recruits went one way, the parents went another way. And so when we joined back together, John, it was just all over his face, that he just had that sigh of relief, yeah, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to be. When we met up and I told him, go ahead and do it. And he said, are you sure? Are we talking about the same thing? And I said, yeah. And he says, but you don't know what I'm talking about. I say, but I do, go ahead.
That's when my grandmother called. I asked how everything was going. I told her good, and I asked her what she thought, and she said, I think you ought to commit. And so I started laughing. My mom said, what did she say? She said she think I ought to commit.
He was like, oh man, there it is. He said, if JoJo said that, I'm gonna go ahead and do it.
And Coach Henry immediately turned around and asked what happened. I said, Coach, sign me up. I'm ready to commit. Immediately after that, we went to spring practice, and they asked me again to make sure I was, solid on my commitment. I told him, yeah, and eventually word got to Coach Miles, and after practice, Coach Miles told me to meet him in his office. And he came out, asked me did I have something to tell him. I said, Coach, I want to be a Tiger.
We met back with Les Miles, and he asked him, he said, well, John, what do you think? And he says, Coach, I want to be on your team.
It was something that just really caught me by surprise.
After that, he gave me a big hug, and all the coaches came in, high-fiving. Just a joyous day.
It was just excitement everywhere. One of the recruiting staff members, it's like a certain holler that they make. And when he did that, everybody started running down the hall, you know, so it was awesome.
It was just a joyous experience. The coaches were happy, we were happy, John was happy. I think everybody was happy that day.
LSU's 2013 recruiting class is shaping up to be another good one. Once again, they're loading up on blue chippers. Not too many of their recruits stand taller than this 6'5" defensive end from Central High School in Memphis, Tennessee. Ladies and gentlemen, we present Frank Herron.
My name is Frank Herron. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. I go to Memphis Central. I weigh 235 pounds, and I'm 6'5" and a half, and I'm going to LSU.
Good. Only got ready to rip.
Frank Herron of Central High School in Memphis, Tennessee is a 4-star recruit and one of the top defensive end prospects in the country as part of the class of 2013. It may seem odd to hear this since Frank is arguably the best player in the city of Memphis, but playing college football wasn't always on his radar.
At first, I really wanted to focus on football. I was like, I just played for fun. I wanted to play video games all day.
Eventually, Frank grew out of playing video games and started growing into his 6'5" frame, which got Frank and the people around him thinking about his future in football.
My sophomore year, someone said, you're going to be somebody one day, son. You can play on Saturdays.
Frank Herron's going to be, he's a Sunday player. He's a special kid.
But just like it took Frank a while to focus on football, it took colleges a while to take notice of his talent.
When I was first getting recruited by these other schools, they really wasn't paying attention to me like they was doing the other kids. And like I felt like I wasn't working hard enough, like I wasn't building them, so I put in some more work.
With the hard work Frank put in, colleges didn't stay away for long, and early in his sophomore season is when he started to gain some attention.
The first school to contact me was University of South Florida, and it was going to like our second game, and they were ready to offer me, and I was like psyched up. I was just hungry for more offers. I was just saying I'm trying to be the best.
If Frank was hungry for offers, then he definitely got what he was craving, because once he got his first offer, more offers started rolling in, and they didn't stop coming until Frank had nearly 24 scholarship offers from schools all over the country.
It was crazy. The offers coming in left to right. Sometimes we had like 8 major college coaches coming in after school just to talk to me.
Of all the schools that came around to recruit Frank, a pair of SEC schools in rebuilding mode quickly jumped to the top of his list.
In Vanderbilt, I was thinking about how great the program has turned around, and like I can see myself playing and building the program up, be the first one to get drafted at the position for them.
The other school that caught Frank's attention right off the bat was Ole Miss, doing so with new head coach Hugh Freeze.
And Coach Freeze, you know, that's a great guy. I still have much respect for him. He said he's not the greatest coach ever, but he have improvement, and I was listening and really is thinking about what he's saying.
Those may have been Frank's favorites early on, but eventually he started looking at other schools that could give him something that he didn't think he could have at Ole Miss or Vanderbilt.
I'm looking for a program that I know will be a championship contender.
Frank looks like he's found a championship contender in LSU. We'll meet up with Frank again in a few weeks to find out what other schools he's considered, the other reasons he chose LSU, and whether he's going to stick by his verbal commitment to play for the Tigers. We're going to take a short commercial break, but when we return, we'll take a look at a receiver with big-time skills who is still under the radar. You're watching Dreams of Saturday. College scouts aren't perfect. Sometimes they put their chips into a kid who turns out to be a dud. Other times they totally ignore a kid who turns out to be the next Jerry Rice. Here's a kid we think a lot of people may have missed on.
Latavius Rayford. I'm from Memphis. I go to Central High School. I play wide receiver. I'm 6'1", 180, and I'm committed to Vanderbilt.
If you're unfamiliar with the name Latavius Rayford, you're probably not alone. Right now, the wide receiver from Central High School in the city of Memphis is very much an under-the-radar prospect. In fact, when Latavius made his verbal commitment to Vanderbilt, most recruiting websites hadn't yet given him an official rating, and those that had listed him as a rather inconsequential two-star recruit. But just because Latavius isn't a big-time recruit doesn't mean he doesn't have big dreams.
I've been dreaming about playing on Saturday ever since I've been watching college football, especially in middle school. Every time I watch TV and watch teams like Cal or USC or Notre Dame, they go out there and make big-time plays or catches and score touchdowns or do things for the team to be successful or things that be successful, make me think that I can do this someday.
However, the 6 touchdowns and more than 750 yards receiving that Latavius had during his junior season at Central weren't enough to impress too many colleges. He had to do more if he wanted to get recruited. He also had to deal with some message board chatter questioning his abilities.
I do see kind of crazy rumors about my vertical saying that it's not as high like they thought it was going to be. I don't take the rumors as serious, but it's just some crazy things that they were saying, so I just brush it off and keep on doing what I'm doing. Just go out there and be myself and compete and get better. And this time I go to a combine or something, I prove them wrong. I guess prove myself like other athletes out there.
And Latavius did just that, leaving his mark on the combine circuit after being named camp MVP at a VTO camp in Leeds, Alabama last March. His performance at that camp helped him move along in his recruitment to the point where schools were starting to take notice and starting to recruit him a lot harder, which made Latavius think that his dreams of playing college football just might come true.
I first realized that I could play college football when a lot of coaches from different schools came to offer me scholarships and stuff. The first school to contact me was Western Kentucky. I was pretty psyched about it because I had the chance to go out there and play college football, D1 college football. When I got my first offer, I wasn't ready to commit because I talked to my family and coach and stuff. Well, to me, basically, try to see how many more that I can get and see which one had the best for me.
Now that Latavius has gotten recruited and knows he can play college football, that low ranking on all those recruiting websites doesn't seem to bother him at all. In fact, it may have actually helped him to achieve his goals.
I use that as some motivation to think that, well, I do need to go out there and still let everyone know that, especially the college coach, that since you guys haven't offered me, you guys missed out on the chance.
I know I feel bad for all those schools that missed their chance. Latavius looks like a sleeper that's about to take off. We'll get to know him a little better this year on Dreams of Saturday as we hear the reasons why he ultimately chose Vanderbilt. We'll also hear about the other sport that he excels at, and we'll keep you updated on whether or not Latavius has been able to add another star or two to his recruiting profile. We're going to take another commercial break, but don't go far. When we return, we'll check out one of the best players in the nation, O.J. Howard. Dreams of Saturday, we'll be right back. Welcome back. Fans don't always go crazy for top-notch tight end recruits, but very few tight ends can do what this next guy can do. At 6'6", 225 pounds, O.J. Howard is perhaps the finest tight end in America.
My name is O.J. Howard. I'm from Prattville, Alabama. 6'6", 226. Going to the University of Alabama, playing tight end.
This is O.J. Howard of Prattville, Alabama. O.J. plays his high school football at Autauga Academy, where he is a very big fish in a small pond. Autauga is a small-time school not known for producing big-time college football recruits, but that's exactly what O.J. is. A 4-star athlete who was ranked one of the best tight ends in the country in the class of 2013. So how did this kid from a small town grow into such a big-time player?
I've been dreaming of playing on Saturdays, since, 4 years old when I first picked up a football.
The first time I ever noticed that he had the talent to play football at the next level was really when he was 5 years old. When he was 4, he always wanted to play football. Always asked, can I play football? He wasn't old enough yet. And most of the leagues around here weren't taking because of his age, and he was small. He was real small. He was probably 45 pounds, 50 pounds soaking wet. So he wasn't really big at that age. So they didn't want to take a chance on him. Around 5 years old when I really realized that he played his first football at the Prattville Y. And the first time he ever ran the ball, had a real big kid hit him real hard. But he got right back up and he went back at it again. I think he scored like 4 or 5 touchdowns that game. So at that time I knew that he had the talent to make it to the next level if he really worked hard.
OJ may have been the smallest one on the field when he started playing football, but it didn't stay like that for long. By the time he got to high school, OJ had grown considerably, and that got him thinking about his future on the gridiron.
I first realized I had a chance to play college football when I started going to a lot of these camps with a lot of these top athletes, and then I figured out I could compete with these guys, you know, and like these guys are top prospects already, and I'm not even one yet. And if I compete with these guys, I know I got a chance to play Division I football. I started thinking maybe I have the size right now as a 9th grader, but I don't have the athletic ability. But you know, one day I can become a great player.
It was right around this time that colleges started knocking on OJ's door.
Ole Miss was actually the first school to contact me for playing football, and that was my 9th grade year.
But it was during his sophomore year that OJ really started to break out and turn himself into a big-time prospect.
My sophomore season was probably my best season so far. I put up some great numbers.
Those numbers included school records in both receptions and touchdowns, as well as 4 sacks and 6 interceptions on the defensive side of the ball. Even after a season like that, OJ stayed humble about his college prospects.
My play on the field, I never could imagine it would lead to an offer.
But OJ did get an offer following his sophomore year, and it came from the defending national champion Alabama Crimson Tide. When we catch up with OJ later this season on Dreams of Saturday, we'll hear all about his commitment to Alabama, the other schools that are still recruiting him hard, and his quest to become a 5-star recruit. Dreams of Saturday will be right back. Welcome back to Dreams of Saturday. I'm Jessica Pomeroy. This is the part of the show when we answer the questions you sent to us on Twitter from you, the viewer. Our first question comes to us from @btemple9, who asks, what exactly is a silent commitment? Is there a point to it? Great question. Simply put, a silent commitment is when a recruit makes a verbal commitment to a school but doesn't tell anybody. And since coaches can't comment on a recruit until they sign their national letter of intent, if the player keeps the commitment to himself, it stays a secret. Each case is unique, but there are a few reasons why a recruit chooses to be a silent commit. For instance, a player may want to commit to a school, but doesn't want the recruiting process to end and still wants to look at other schools. In other cases, a player may want to commit to a school, but if they're not completely secure in their choice, they don't want backlash from a fan base if they later back out of that commitment. They may choose to keep their commitment silent. Other times, the school may ask the recruit to stay silent, usually because they want to recruit